Thank you. Now, look, The Last Dance was absolutely huge in Australia. Everyone loved it. But Australian viewers also wondered why Luke wasn't involved and why Luke wasn't interviewed. What's your take on that, Michael?
You know, you can say that a lot, and the thing is that I had no control in terms of who you were going to interview. There was a lot of guys that said the same thing, and Jason could answer it much better than I, because it was more of their control, you know. And once again, he was and is, you know, an integral part to this whole process. And I think that, you know, if you look back and say, well, we should have included Luke. We should have included, you know, other players that were significant to the team. And it's hard, you know, but, you know, I had no control over that. And, you know, it's unfortunate. And I can understand why Australia would say, well, why wouldn't we include Luke? And we probably should have. And that was, I guess, if you look back and say if I could change anything, that's probably what I could have changed, where you would want to interview every single body and get a perspective from a lot of different angles.
Now, your desire to win and your toughness on the team as a result of that is absolutely legendary and was explored in The Last Dance. Luke described your leadership style as carnivorous. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that from his perspective. Quite naturally, yes, I can see that. And look, I didn't go in there with that mentality. That's how it's gonna. It's just so, you know, my mentality was to win at all costs, you know, and pull, push, yank, whatever to get everybody on the same page. And you know, I understand it. And you know, the thing is that if I were to change my personality back, you know, to something totally different, I wouldn't be who I would have been. I don't think we would have had the same successes. I think a lot of players probably wouldn't have been the same in terms of their perspective, you know. So yeah, I can see him saying that, but the thing is that I think it was needed in some respect, and I think our success illustrates that.
One of the themes of this story in Luke's life, it's sort of charting Luke's life, is the fact that he did have to change. He was a gentle giant. He got to the NBA, he had to kind of put on the armour and toughen up. And then he found once his NBA career was over, he found it very difficult to shed that sort of tough armour that he'd had to sort of gird himself with. And that he quite struggled with that for quite a long time. Can you relate to that?
110%. Part of my struggles after the game is my competitive drive. You know, I was such a competitive player, and each and every day felt the need to always get ahead of my opponent. Well, when you're out of sports and you're in, you know, in normal life, you know, you don't shed that armor that you actually have coated yourself with, you know, based on your lifestyle and that work ethic. You know, it's just, you have to find your way around it, and that's frustrating, and sometimes that's even tough, you know, because of the competitive nature that I have. I look at everything from a competitive nature, you know, and I tell my wife all the time is that I'm cursed. I'm cursed from a competitive standpoint that, you know, I cannot watch or compete or be a part of things without competition, you know, and that's something that, you know, I live with today, but I would not want to live without, you know, because I think it says so much about me and helped me define who I really want or was or am, and attain all the things I really wanted. Now is the challenge is to calm those nerves. You know, that's why I do a lot more fishing now. I would have never thought I would get on a boat and go fishing, but the competition of patience and being, you know, trying to catch a fish, trying to be patient. It's not going to happen. You can't make it happen. You just have to be ready when it does happen. Those are all things that I think calms me down a lot more than if I'm playing a sport, you know, if I'm playing golf or if I'm doing anything competitive. Because I think that, you know, that's what I need. That's the therapy that I need to help soothe some of these competitive juices that I have.
Well, that's interesting because Luke loves fishing too, loves boats and fishings. When you look back on those years, was it sad to say goodbye to your teammates like Luke once the sort of Chicago Bulls and that team were no more?
Yes, and it's still sad. I mean, look, Luke emails me all the time, and every time I see it, you know, good day, mate, it brings a smile to my face in the sense that, you know, we don't spend the type of time we used to, even though, you know, if you ask him or you ask me, I think it was genuine time, you know, even though we were competing and we were learning about each other and we were pushing each other, blah, 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 those are still genuine times, you know, and you don't share those with too many people, you know. So yeah, I miss spending time with him, you know. I miss seeing, you know, that face that's never gonna be sad no matter what happens, you know. You know, he's just funny. And I think the thing that was in amazement of every time I'd spin and see Luke, it was a shock to see someone, he was looking at me and I could feel this coming from him, is that how can one person be so competitive each and every day and blah, 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 and yet he doesn't seem like he's enjoying life. When actually I was enjoying the competition. That was my enjoyment. I sensed that sometimes when he used to look at me, you know, and just kind of, you know, and I didn't take it negatively. I took it as a badge of honor. I take my job seriously. I take my competitive nature very seriously. But sometimes looking at him and seeing and joking and, you know, we sense of humor and, you know, it's fun and you miss that. You know, you miss that you know, that celebration of you know, starting a goal at the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year, you know, the gratification that we went through hell to get here, but we got here, and let's just enjoy it. Let's have fun, and let's do it again in another 3 months. You know, that was the mentality. You missed that in that year.
And you're a busy man, Michael. Why did you agree to take time out of your schedule for Luke to do this interview for Luke?
He matters to me. You know, he does matter to me, and his story needs to be told. And I'm pretty sure I can enlighten it from my perspective, and, you know, and give people his meaningfulness to me, you know, as a teammate, as a competitor. Sure, I mean, there's some good and there's some bad, but that's all a part of life. You know, you're gonna have friends that you have good and bad things about, you know, but we went through the trenches. We shared a lot, you know, we competed together, and you know, I would take him any day of the week if I had to go through a competition again. If you asked me to do it all over again, there's no way I would leave Luke Longley off my team. No way possible, because he mattered. You know, he had an impact on me. He helped me change as a person. So I mean, to hear that they're recognizing him, and you would think, you know, most people think, what can they be saying about Luke in a documentary? You can be saying a lot about the guy, and I am a example of what he meant to me and how he made me better as a person, you know. And that story needs to be told about a person that people think is very minor, but they're not. They're very major when it comes to winning a championship. Those people do matter.
Well, that's lovely. And at the end of the day, Luke credits you with compensating for his weaknesses with your brilliance and dragging him across the line 3 times. So thank you very much for that.
No problem. It was my pleasure. And once again, you know, they are motivating to me. You know, they were, you know, for me to ultimately get them where they needed to go, and ultimately we got where we needed to go. I mean, it was teamwork. It wasn't a one band. It was teamwork. They made me better as well.